everybody, Goosebumps for Dummies here. Today I'm going to be ranking the entire Give Yourself Goosebumps series. Holy cow, this is one of the longest Goosebumps series ever. It ran 50 books, so it is second place only next to the original Goosebumps run of 62. There are 8 special editions and 42 normal books, which isn't much of a difference, except that they're labeled differently and they have slightly different mechanics, minus Jaws of Doom, which is very much a special edition. And sequel books, I guess, that aren't in the series, like Turn to the Carnival Force. There were 2 main artists for the cover arts, known as Mark Nagata and Craig White. Mark Nagata did the first 24 books, and Craig White did the other 26. The series also switched from these holographic covers that resemble the original Goosebumps stuff to doing these weird other ones. I don't really know how to describe them, they're just black, so people call them black spines. And yeah, the series ran for 5 years, from July of 1995 to February of 2000, so almost 5 years. Only coming short again to the original series being the longest running and the longest series of the 90s for Goosebumps. And yeah, we're gonna be ranking these books. This is a huge ranking. It was a long time coming as well. I've been reading these books for a long time, trying to get closer and closer to this eventual goal, which was this is the penultimate thing, I guess, for this series for me to do, which is rank the books, because I will be ranking the covers at some point this year, I hope. Bear with me when that comes out, I have no clue. And I have a lot of thoughts on this series. My general consensus for this series is that don't read every book because you like Goosebumps. Only read the ones that people say are good or that interest you, because gee whiz, man, I completely regret reading all 50 of these. It's taken so much time out of my life. I mean, at least 50 days just to read these books. Like 50 days I could have spent reading a different book to read these. And whilst I do like a lot of them, I do not think there are more than like 5 genuinely bad GYGs, in my opinion. Most of the series is not genuinely worth checking out outside of maybe 10 or 15. And even then, pick and choose out of those. But yeah, give yourself Goosebumps. Give me your thoughts on the series down below, maybe your own rankings, maybe tell me your favorite books, and go crazy. This is a ranking, so honestly, any discussion about the series is allowed. Let's just dive in with the worst and work our way to the best. Quick disclaimer, a lot of my thoughts in this video are pretty similar. I don't have a lot of unique things to say. Some of them are kind of forgettable, and a lot of the series is forgettable and it kind of blends because they're all extremely similar books, so just bear with me if I repeat myself a lot in this video. Starting off with number 50, the absolute bottom of the barrel for Give Yourself Goosebumps. The surprise of basically no one if you've read any of these. Night in Werewolf Woods. Man, this is the 5th book too, so it's extremely early on, and there's a slight chance Stine might have wrote this one, because I don't know if I mentioned it, but he did not write this series at most past book like 5, because we already know book 6 is ghost written, and I'm like 100% positive, like I'm really sure that everything at least past this book is ghost written. This is a really, really bad book. It's got some of the absolute worst story progression ever. It just sucks. Some of the endings are absolutely terrible. There's a lot of, it was all dream endings in here. And it's generally one of the worst experiences I have ever had. The story is not it. The whole goblin storyline is really, really freaking weird, and I did not really enjoy it. And overall, or is it troll? No, I don't care. Overall, just not worth your time. Absolutely dog shit. Pun intended. Number 49. I will not be saying all the numbers for this. Danger Time, which is actually one of the final books of the series. I believe this came out in its death year, January of 2000, so this was the second to last one ever released. Funny enough, we're going from the start to the end. Hell no. Not that this book was offensively bad, but it was trying absolutely way too much to be an interesting story. Way too complicated for its own good, from a just story level, and just not very interesting. Next up, The Deadly Experiments of Dr. Eek. Some good ideas, mostly really not good ideas. It's not a terrible book, but it's definitely bad. Trapped in the Circus of Fear. I have barely anything to say on this one because of how bland it was, and I didn't read it more than half a year ago. There's seriously not a lot to be said here. It's super bland. It's basically everything you'd expect when you hear it's a circus scene, Give Yourself Goosebumps book. It doesn't do anything crazy, though I will give credit for the amazing climax. Unarmed Magician's Spell. A lot of very uninteresting paths in this one. I didn't really have a lot of fun with it in general. I did like one particular swing that's like this weird underground mall area, but outside of that, not a lot of good here. It's only a nightmare. This is the first victim, I believe, here of this very rough thing that does recur in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series, and that is the fact that it has terrible plot progression. Some of the absolute worst. Absolute random bullshit just going on over and over and over again because it's a game book, and whoever wrote it doesn't really understand how to progress with a game book outside of, placing down random shit to get you into a different path instead of stuff that makes sense. It's very nonsensical. Hard to enjoy because of that. Good idea, though. Just again, very nonsensical. Into the Twister of Terror. One of the most iconic cover arts, because this is actually Trey White's dog posing. Or at least it's based on his dog. Not a lot to be said on this one. It's a black explain exists, it has Wizard of Oz references, but it's just kind of a bit out there for the Goosebumps series and doesn't really fit. And there's just some really dumb ideas in here that didn't work, but still, I enjoyed it for some of the other stuff, like specifically the Living Twister stuff. Really good there, but didn't quite like it that much. This is a mild hot take. The Werewolf of Twisted Tree Lodge. Yeah, this one I found kind of bland and boring. And this is because it's kind of the opposite of, what is it called? It's Only a Nightmare, where that one and others are extremely messy in the plot, where they're way too unfocused. This one is way too focused and doesn't really do anything interesting outside of a few moments. So yeah, kind of boring. I have a Mad Mummy. Some great ideas and horror elements, but some arcs weren't in this one. So it kind of evens out to being fine. Ship of Ghouls. This is the one that you'd expect to be a shark-themed one, but it's mostly just about either a terrorist, which is not my favorite arc. That's very vague for what it even was. It's basically Deep Trouble Free. But then there's a way better Lost at Sea arc, which kind of devolves at the end, but still is really solid, so it kind of just is okay. This one gets a lot of shit. Night of a Thousand Claws. This is basically Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. And whilst it's not as amazing as that little movie is, it's decent. I like the Lighthouse arc. I like both arcs to some extent, but it didn't impress me that much. I just thought it was decent. And yeah, we're already getting into decent ones. I didn't have a lot of negative books, really, where I'm overly negative. Just stuff that was holding them down for being good. Because most of my outside's pretty repetitive anyways for series. Moving on. Came from the internet. This one is super focused, and it's literally one giant arc, if I can remember right. But I feel like there was a lot of missed potential here, and I wasn't very invested with this whole spider dude. Again, I liked him. I liked a lot of the ideas in this book, but again, just a lot of missed potential and didn't really land for me. It was disappointing. Now for a very infamous one, I guess for cost of the book and the actual book itself, Trick or Trapped. Just don't get confused with Most Wanted. This is decent. I think there's a lot of missed potential in some of the arcs in this one, because there's a lot of random little arcs, but I think it kind of pulls that shit together in the final boss, though I have mixed feelings on it overall. Very mixed, but I enjoyed this one. Now here's one I wish I liked more. A Knight in Screaming Armor. This has one of the best cover arts of the entire Goosebumps franchise. Mark Nagata absolutely pulled his crap together for this one and locked in, dude. The book itself, I don't think I was a big fan of the arc that was centered in real life. But this arc, which one you see on the cover, it said medieval fantasy, I think was a lot better. There's good elements. I like the vibes. I think the atmosphere in this one is great. But it was overall just okay. Hocus Pocus Horror. Very, very underwhelming. I still liked it. I believe it gets one like a 7. It's just like, it's exactly what you'd expect. But I didn't expect much anyways for this one, since magic and kids' horror usually devolves into the same amount of stuff. And it's no different here. The Creepy Creations of Professor Shock. I liked some elements of this one. I think the mirror world is really cool, but there's a lot of missed potential in the idea of these robots, and I wish I liked it a little more than I did. Again, this is one of those where I feel like this could have been great, but it just wasn't landing. But I do think the, mild spoiler, giant mech fight in this book, I'm not telling you where it's at, is amazing. One of the best scenes in this whole series, so really carrying the book. There's from the big screen. Really cool idea, but some of the arcs weren't that good, whilst others were really good. So it kind of just evens out. It's basically going into movies, whilst also movies are coming out. Exactly what you'd expect. Good stuff, as well as middling stuff. Now this might be a little low for some people, but Wicked Wax Museum. I just didn't find this one too crazy, cool, or epic or anything. I just found it good. really decent. Didn't quite love it, though. Great horror, some great cameos for monsters, and some great moments in here. I love Still Wicked too, but I just didn't find myself loving it for the plot. I just thought it was a nice little fun time. It didn't blow me away. And same thing kind of goes for this one. It's a really solid October atmosphere book. I like the Bat arc a lot. I think that one's very fun. There's a lot of fun, kind of out there arcs, and I do think there was a little bit of meandering in this book when it comes to focus. Kind of like, again, It's Only a Nightmare, which one of the worst offenders of that. But I still really enjoyed it, and it was a lot more locked in than the earlier books, even though I did enjoy those more. Earlier books, I mean. This is book 3. Zapped in Space. Alien arc is fantastic. Arctic arc, not so much. So, it just kind of evens out that way. Your Plant Food. This one should have been a special edition because of the way it was formatted, and it has one of my favorite styles for the Give Yourself Goosebumps books when it comes to navigation, which is basically you get a crossroad that you keep coming back to do different side quests leading to something bigger. Yeah, it basically does that. I found it very fun. I like the setting a lot. I like the plants. Just a very fun little time. Nothing too crazy, though. TikTok, You're Dead. It's a time travel story around New Year's. It's really good at times, as well as it kind of has these lesser arcs and moments in there. But it just, again, kind of evens out because there's a lot of varying bits in all of these books. It kind of just accumulates to a random score. All Day Nightmare. There's one arc in here I really didn't like. It was like this agent spy arc or something. Wasn't big on it. But the other arcs in this book and the whole forgetting thing, the amnesia, I thought that was really interesting. Just some nice horror elements as a whole, and I like the hunter stuff. Just a very interesting time that I have mixed feelings on, but generally quite liked. Zombie School. This is one I was not anticipating liking because, I mean, judging a book by its cover, I very much was. Zombie School's cover is one of the worst series, sorry, Craig White, but I enjoyed it a lot. It's not exactly what you expect from the cover art. It's more of a zombie story than a zombie story. It's a different kind of zombie, more like mind control. And yeah, you get some pretty interesting stuff out of this, so there is some waste potential. As Act the Beastly Babysitter. I didn't quite love the Beastly Babysitter plotline as much as I loved the Tattoo Man. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I am sorry. Really cool stuff. I liked one plot more than the other. Just a typical scenario. Toy Terror, Batteries Included. I believe this is actually our first 8 out of 10 book in here. So now we're getting to the really good. And yeah, this is really good. I like this book a lot. I think there's a lot of good, awesome moments in here involving fighting the toys. So I do think the biggest thing really holding this back is that it's a lot of action and it's very repetitive with that, especially in one particular segment. But other than that, really good stuff. Secret Agent Grandma. Yeah, one of the more batshit titles of the series. Secret Agent Grandma. I like the train arc a lot. I like the alien elements, though there are some bad endings, I believe. I believe one of the worst just comes on immediately in this book, so not really helping. That's the first ending you can get. But yeah, it just kind of evens out to a really good, once again, evening out kind of book. And here is the last of Mark Nagata's artwork for the series, which was a black spine at the same time. It's kind of weird. Lost in Stink High Swamp. This is really solid. Don't have a lot to say on this one. I do like the twist we get with a certain character. I thought that was really interesting. There's some nice weird imagery of like this underground ballroom and just the swamp as a whole. I like the abandoned ship. Just some really good stuff here. Just held back a little by some things I can't remember off the top of my head. Ed Alejandro here to save the day. The thing holding that book back is facts. The ending's stuck, bollocks, and there's a very underdeveloped villain. You heard Purple Peanut Butter. It's not very impressive, and that's basically the amount of it. You know, I can't really say this is a banger, but I didn't really have any issues with it. I just thought it was generally, it's pretty darn good. Didn't love it, but I enjoyed it a lot. It's basically The Adventures of Shrink Man as a Give Yourself Goosebumps book, or Incredible Shrink 5th grade, we'll call it that. And for the final Give Yourself Goosebumps book of the series, technically, or at least it's the final special edition, we get at Poison Lake. This one had 4 plot lines, and generally, I really liked most of them. I do think there was one in here that kind of sucked ass, if I remember correctly, but the other 4 were really darn good, so just evens out like that. And going directly to the start of this series, Escape from the Carnival of Horrors, the one that started it all. This was the one that came out in July of 1995. It just reached its anniversary about half a year ago now. Yeah, Escape from the Carnival of Horrors. This is the only artwork Tim Jacoba's in as well. What do I have to say on the book? It's got some regression problems. Again, it's another victim. It's only a nightmare issue where it's like its meandering weirdness where it doesn't know how to focus on the plot whilst also retaining entertainment value, kind of like the opposite Offender, where Fish a Tree Lodge. No, this one just very, very random at times, way too random, but still a very enjoyable one, and I think gets mostly its credit for being the first book of the series, so it kind of was fleshed out, but also has some of the best endings, especially the canon ending. I still think about that one, man. That's crazy. Curse of the Cave Creatures, one of the least popular of the series. It's pretty good. I do think it has these weaker moments in here, but is overall a decent ride with very interesting concept and a better final boss and a weaker final boss. The better one is right here. Deep in the Jungle of Doom. This is actually more of a guilty pleasure, because it doesn't do anything crazy, but does have some recognizable faces like Crombie and the Mulganese, I guess. And also, I really like the main plot line that you gotta turn into this thing. This is you, protagonist. Some really fun stuff, this one. I think this is one of the more fun of the series. Generally very entertaining. And I love the setting. The Twisted Tale of Tiki Island. It's very interesting. I think the Tiki monster thing going on in the background kind of builds up into another arc. Really good stuff. I love the Crystal Cave arc, though. I think that is one of the best of the series. Not fantastic, but really freaking good. Top 10. So yeah, extremely fun one. Scream of the Evil Genie. This one I think gets too much shit. I think, again, this is more of the fun ones I am going for right now. A lot of them kind of accumulate to around the same area. Scream of the Evil Genie. Great idea because, obviously, Genie, give yourself goosebumps. There's a lot of paths you can delve into. And also, I do think there's some weaker segments like the Barney one. Yeah. There's also some greater segments like the mall one I found to be pretty fun and becoming rich, and it's generally not as much a Goosebumps book as it's just a casual give yourself or choose your own adventure story. Sorry. So yeah, really fun with some mild setbacks, but really held up by its entertainment value and its crazy plot. Comic Shop of Horrors. There is a maze segment in here, which I thought was really cool, and I like the concept of this one. It's not incredibly unique, but it's good and fares well for a GYG. And I think there's some great moments here, only held back by some of the, things and worlds not being the most interesting. Escape from Horror House. I do think the final arc or plotline I read involving trying to get someone possessed was kind of a rougher part of the book, but that's basically my only huge complaint. This book is really darn good. It's a nice poltergeist story. There are two characters that you meet early on, basically a really stupid Ghostbuster and like a mystic. Really fun characters there, and generally one of the more fun GYGs. Now this one is Into the Jaws of Doom, and I have a weird relationship with this one, because I do think there's a lot of good, and I want to say it's completely great. It could even be top 10 if I'm feeling the day. But it just held back by some portions, this book not being the most interesting. Like, this is a little underwhelming. The T-Rex shows up for like 4 segments, and this is also broken up into 200 segments, which is really weird. I like the challenge this one offers. I think it's very unique and interesting, and I do feel that this one has some of the best ideas. The setting is great, and it's super fun. Just, again, some parts are holding it back, especially the mirror maze part. That was so annoying, dude. We're about to be on a Black Spine run, so bear with us. Return to Terror Tower, one of the only sequels of this series. Actually, I think it's the first one to show up, if I'm not wrong. Either way, Return to Terror Tower is living up to the original book, and I think it does a really solid job of that. Return to Terror Tower has some issues and plot holes and some segments I didn't like as much, but I think overall it is a really, really fun time that adds to the lore of Terror Tower as a universe, and generally is just a very good medieval read. So check this one out if you like the original book. Really nice, fun read. Don't expect it to be an amazing sequel, just an amazing venture with the same characters. But it is a sequel. Alone in Snakebite Canyon. This one has an Animorphs-esque plotline, which I have some problems with, but is overall pretty fun. And there's also an Indiana Jones-style plotline, which is also extremely fun. So, yeah, it's one of the more entertaining ones, once again. Check out Time of the Dead Ends Hotel. Some great endings in this one, some great paths in here. The entire book is set in the hotel, which is, I wish there was a bit more going on. And there's some parts in here, I believe there's some involving dwarves. Yeah, that is kind of stupid, but other than that, this book is really freaking good. Here we have one of the most iconic villains in Scary Birthday to You. And that is Dr. Macduff. Dude, he absolutely carried this book. He has acid water balloons. What more could you want, dude, out of a freaking Goosebumps book? This guy is crazy, and there's some really crazy, out there, almost dark in a way, too, endings. Like, there's one where you get transported to the complete opposite side of the world, and you're stranded there. It's pretty sad. But, yeah, really, really freaking fun book. It's about birthdays. No shit. With this crazy out there villain and some of the most gruesome imagery I've seen. Literally, the first thing that happens in this book is one of your friends gets turned into a human swan. And it is horrendous. In a good way. Shop to the Drop Dead. It's inevitable that the halfway mark, I guess, too, funny enough, of this series, technically halfway mark, if you count the 8 as the finale, 8 special editions, would be about malls. You know, there was inevitably going to be a book about them because there's so much you can do with this setting. Why not do it at night with a dare? This is a very fun one, and I like the floor navigation. It follows one of those schemes that I really like in these books for navigating. And yeah, it was very, very fun and entertaining the entire ride with some of the greatest ideas I've seen in this series just from a level of interest. And the final boss is really good. Want to black spine for a minute? One Night in Pain House. Whoo, man. One Night in Pain House is a crazy one. It is set on Halloween, so it is one of the Halloween Goosebumps stories. Remember that for any of y'all's rankings. I will have to. And yeah, it has some of the craziest, most gross imagery of this series, some of the darkest moments, and some of the best endings. The only thing really holding this back is, like, the one good ending, quote unquote, I believe, is, like, really fucking bad. So that kind of build up to that is like, damn, that sucked. 0.5 off, biatch, you know? But overall, it's a really freaking good one. The Curse of the Creeping Coffin. This one has one of the best cover arts in the entire franchise. I think everyone can agree on that. Fucking atmosphere, beautiful. And the idea behind the book, once you hear it, it's so good and interesting for a book in general. Great mystery there. And I love the boss fights. I love the ghost encounters in this one. And there's some just really good ideas thrown out the wall here that most of the time stick, with some of them just being kind of eh. But overall, really freaking good entry. We are almost to perfect now with our top 5, if I'm not wrong. Probably predicted this one being up here. It's one of the most popular. Please do not feed the vampire. Or is it don't? It is don't. Sorry. This one stars Fifi and is a Halloween story, kind of. It's more of a late October story, I believe. I think there's a Halloween segment in here, though. It's a bit confusing, but either way. Nice fall Halloween time atmosphere in this one. I love all the vampiric aspects of this book. You get some vampire pets galore, and you get basically how to be a vampire from Ghosts of Fear Street in this book, which is a great Ghosts of Fear Street, one of my favorites of that series. So, if you like that one, good news for you. Or vice versa, if you like that, read that book. But yeah, really good shit. Easily one of the best for atmosphere and entertainment. Now, this top 4 is my quintessential, truly, or quad-essential, not quintessential, of the Goosebumps, Give Yourself Goosebumps series. And starting that off is Revenge of the Body Squeezers. These 4 are seriously some of my favorite books ever in this franchise. Revenge of the Body Squeezers is a sequel book to Revenge of the Body Squeezers Part 1 and 2. And it's actually the third one. And excluding one thing that kind of bothers me, the plot hole, this is basically almost perfect, dude. It's super fun. It's one of the more tonally, different ones. It has some really goofy elements in here, and writing as well. And it's generally just a super fun alien-packed story that gives you more lore on that book. So if you already write that series, or duology, I guess, then you're going to have a good time here hearing more about the aliens. You might meet some interesting characters in here that I think are really cool. And yeah, generally just a really nice continuation of that duology that I quite freaking loved. And now for our final black spine. This one really shocked me, and this is actually a first 10 out of 10, for how much I really enjoyed this one. And that is Elevator to Nowhere. Dude, there's some crazy imagery in this one, and not only is it super sci-fi, so I already really enjoyed that, which is why I also enjoyed the GYG I just mentioned, but it's got headhunters. I don't know if this is the evil one, but there's like an evil twin of this dude from an alternate universe who is the headhunter. In a universe of headhunters, just some really gross alternate universe ideas in this one, some dystopian societies and stuff, and just some really great stuff from the wall, as well as these gadgets and just great ideas overall, and such a super fun book. Seriously, worth the read if you're a sci-fi fan and want something fun and entertaining that's really short. And these final two, honestly, could just be flipped around any day. They're really freaking good. But as it stands, these were reversed before, but I change it. Not only to when my cover ranking comes around, it doesn't look biased because it just really happened to be that, but also because I generally do feel this way as it stands right now. Number 2, Return to the Carnival of Horrors. One of the best Horrorland redos ever, because it's literally Horrorland basically, with this main villain named Big Al or something. Weird Al, not the Yank Fit. Anyways, nah, man. This is easily, like, by far, the best theme park story, probably, of the series. Arguably. So freaking good. Maybe Panic Park does it better. Just so freaking good. Had endless fun with this one. I think it's easily one of the most entertaining of the series. It has this fall vibe, too, because it's near Halloween. That's great. There's so many fun, different segments. There's like a piranha tank in here. Such good shit. And even a Say Cheese and Die reference are in here. And some of the best moments and endings I have seen from the series. So seriously, check this one out if you really like the first book. Because it's basically that, but if it locked the fuck in, gained coherency and plot with it being a carnival, and just absolutely nailed it with being the most entertaining of the series, arguably. But right now, it is not my favorite. Could be if I were to re-rank this full. Hell no. But it could switch depending on the day. So if you ask me, like, maybe in a week from now, it might be. But seriously, as it stands, no one's shocked to see Escape from Camp Run for Your Life is my favorite Give Yourself Goosebumps book. There's aliens, for starters, so it's already helping that there's a plot line about aliens. And I don't want to really spoil it because it's so stupid. I love it, though. No, outside of that, there's some great zombie imagery and a whole plotline involving going up the mountain. It's just some great stuff that goes down in this book, but I kind of just want to be vague about it. But yeah, very fun. A lot of great camp elements that you'd find in some of your favorite Camp Goosebumps books are thrown in here. It is seriously just an absolute joyride of a read with some, again, really gross stuff happening and disturbing sequences and entertaining bits. And all the sort. Super fucking good. Easily the best of the series, if not second. Could switch again. And that is going to conclude ranking every single Give Yourself Goosebumps book. I am at 36.5 minutes right now. I don't know. It should be shortened. This was a hell of a thing to rank, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's going to be a nightmare to download on my phone because it's the longest video I have ever done with this new phone, I believe, and obviously with this software I'm using, so please bear with me. This is going to be a minute to download. And I just want to kind of have a minute here or so, because I need more time to make this video 30 minutes, or I just gotta talk, because a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff to say. I mean, we got a bunch of big releases coming up around this video. You know, today as I'm recording this, Nightmare Street came out, which I got in the mail. Not super excited for it. It's one of R.L. Stine's newer books. And his modern Kid Blackstone books, I mean, they're all modern, not been good. But either way, we also got Camp Bigfoot coming out soon. And obviously, this video is being made now instead of a little later in honor of the 5th channel anniversary. It's 5 years old. It came out. It was created in February 2021. So, yeah, it's been a long time. And I've been doing YouTube longer than that. Actually, a very long time. Since like 2017, just never showed it. I don't think that stuff's available anymore. But either way, yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. It's been a long editing session, about 2.5 hours. I could watch the Lord of the Rings movie doing this, but no. And yeah, it's just been crazy. I've almost read every single Goosebumps book as it is now. I only have one more to read before Camp Bigfoot comes out. And obviously, that 1% book called Creeps, I ain't getting to it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for 4,500 subs, I guess. 5,000 comes soon to do something big. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.